knocked out the fucking race, and then as soon as they're done that, they go back to warring with each other, and we go back to having to decide on one or the other, when at the end of the day, I believe on rights for both sides. So I want to be in the middle.
It should be bipartisan at all times. It should always be bipartisan at all times.
I agree.
The people that are Republicans should just be people who study a certain practice. The people who are Democrats should be people who study a certain practice. It should never be them pitted against each other anyway. So you're exactly 100% right. And that goes back to the point of what I was trying to tell y'all about the professor. He was saying, why do you get spam emails sometimes with ridiculous information? And you think to yourself, who does this work on? Well, the thing about when people that are constructing those spam things, when they type with bad grammar and they use misspellings and words and things of that nature, they do that on purpose because they want the person that's going to not pay attention to grammar. They want the person who's not going to pay attention to the details. They want the person who's going to want to believe the narrative so bad that they are going to reply to that. So these things aren't sent on accident. People know that if you play to the simple, I mean, I don't want to say the simple-minded, but maybe let's say the vulnerable-minded people of America. The sheep, they will follow you and they will send you money. Yeah, because you think why do telemarketers and scam? Why do you still get scam calls on your phone?
Because people are still stupid enough to fucking send money and not do their homework. And yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, dog.
So these people exist, and just because they're not you, and just because they're not me, and maybe they might not be all of our listeners, they might be your grandma, they might be your auntie, they might be your auntie's grandma. Right. Who knows who it might be? It might be somebody you know, or grandpa. I'm sorry, I made that very female.
No, you good. You good. I think everybody understands.
So I mean, but so just pay attention, people. Just stay awake. Hopefully, everyone filled out their census. The census season get counted. Because I don't know if anyone else been checking their mail lately. Did you get a Trump check yet? Because I ain't got no Trump check.
Nah, I don't know that I'm gonna get one because I'm a little late on my taxes for last year, my personal taxes. So. Yeah, I don't know that I'll get one. If I am gonna get one, from what I've heard, I'm supposed to be getting like $1,200, and then my girl's supposed to get $1,200, and then if you got a kid, I think it's like $500. Once again, I don't know how that all works. I mean, I was actually gonna talk about some of the loan. Fuck, nigga, that's as good as mine, dog. So I was going to talk about some of the loans and shit out there for some of these small businesses when you're ready.
That was some good shit. Yeah, now go ahead, tell them about it now, because actually, let me just set you up real quick. We were talking off air, me and Lucho Speax, and a lot of the guys we know, they own businesses, they're 1099 employees or independent contractors, but this is more for people that own businesses and then they have to do payroll for other people, and we know other people. We know a lot of guys that fall in this category. So if you're listening to this, please turn your volume up right now, because Lucho Speax has got some pretty good information for you guys to get through this this time we stepping into right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be pretty brief with this stuff. First of all, if any of y'all have an accountant you work with, obviously talk to them, talk to your bank. But there's two type of loans out there right now. There's a paycheck protection loan, and there's an SBA economic injury disaster loan. Both of these loan applications could be found on SBA.gov. Both loans, or even go to your bank website. Most of these banks have their own little applications that are basically, based off of these things. Really quick, I'm just going to break down what kind of each loan does. So the first one, the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan. You guys may have heard about this. It's a loan that the government says they'll give you an immediate $10,000 up front, even though I know people that have filed for this loan back in February still have not received their $10,000 up front. You also need to understand something about this loan, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. This is not a forgivable loan. You do have to pay this loan back. So if you're going to apply for this $10,000, and who knows when you're going to get it, you do have to pay that back. Now, the other loan that's one of the most popular ones is the Paycheck Protection Loan. Really quick, it's for companies that have 500 or fewer employees. You will have to use estimates from your last year's payroll. I definitely advise everybody if you got a small company or if you're a 1099, apply for this. Talk to your accountant. Do it yourself online. It can be a little confusing. Get on YouTube, look at some videos. There's a lot of accountants out there making videos to explain this process to you. Do it. It's worth it. There's a lot of money out there. Don't wait till the last minute because money will run out. It's first come, first serve.
Good shit.
But definitely jump on it. And just to point out a couple of things, for anybody out there, if you're a felon, and double check this, but if you're a felon, I think it's 5 years or 7. I'm not sure. It's either 5 or 7 years. Your felony has to be older than that. It doesn't matter what the felony is for. From what I've read and what I understand, if you're a felon, period, it has to be older than 5 to 7 years for you to not get denied. Double check that. You can find all that information out, sba.gov.
Tweet that out after the show is over. Matter of fact, if you have your Twitter open, throw it on Twitter for the people.
But I will make a note of it here. And then really quick, just to give you a little bit, this paycheck protection loan is forgivable. So
what's that mean?
Once you do the calculations for it, figure out how much you should get. As long as you follow the guidelines, and just a simple thing that I learned from my accountant, the minute you get the loan, you have 8 weeks to use 75% of that loan towards payroll. If you follow that guideline within the 8 weeks of getting the loan and do 75% of it to your payroll, it will be forgiven. The other 25% that's left over, you can use towards rent, utilities, or any other thing that has to do with your company moving forward. So, you can use it for cell phone bills or, your lease or whatever. I think you can buy an equipment.
Groceries.
Yep. Well, I think it still has to relate to company. Still has to relate to company stuff, but still.
So that way your personal money can go to your groceries and stuff. And because people are starting to dip into their personal expenses now to pay for company stuff. And that's good shit, Lucho Speax. Yep. I'm actually going to be on his ass, y'all. So if you're listening and you didn't catch all that, he's going to tweet out that link. So jump on Lucho Speax' Twitter. He's going to put that link on there. You guys can get on there. I think it says sba.gov.
I will. I'll post a bunch of shit on there so that everybody can get the right information and, go from there. I mean, shit. And if anybody needs help with anything or needs an accountant, let me know. I'll send you towards my accountant. She's this older lady that's fucking awesome and loves people, and that's why I'm been with her for years, because she gives a shit about people, not about.
You want to put her name out there?
Not yet, man. I think it's something I probably need to run by her first. But at the end of the day, man, I like her because she gives a shit about people. It's not all about the money for her. So I really appreciate it.
It's all about the money for us. And in case anyone ever noticed, that's why we always say we got to run it by you, because we got to make sure that you have a budget before we just throw your name out there. It's all good because we may have to put her on with some of these NBA players out here. I was on YouTube watching some videos and just catching up on shit. And I seen... who was a player that I seen that was getting interviewed? But he was basically saying a lot of from the Portland Trailblazers. He's one of my favorite players in the league, as a matter of fact. Anyway, his name will come to me in a second. He was saying a lot of players are living paycheck to paycheck. He said maybe out of 450 players in the league, 150 of them are living paycheck to paycheck. CJ McCollum is actually who it is. He's the two guard for the Portland Trailblazers. He's a very smooth ball handler, one of my favorite basketball players. Smart guy. He was saying 150 of 450 NBA players are living paycheck to paycheck. And the reason being is because a lot of them are supporting their families. You know what I'm saying? They're supporting kids. And then there's some that just make bad business investments. There's some that live above their means. But that's like 30% of the NBA. That's a third of the NBA right now who's probably financially struggling and needs some financial help. And they're NBA players. A third of them. Yeah. I mean, even the league minimum. I think the league minimum for the NBA is in the 7s or 800,000s. It's high.
Right.
So I mean,
paycheck to paycheck with making that kind of money, that's crazy to me, right?
Ain't it though?
That's crazy to you?
Oh, it is in a way, but it's really not, because what it points at a finger at a couple things. Number one, first of all, NBA motherfucking basketball players like to blow money. All right, just think of
are they
NBA
living within their means?
Most of them aren't living within their means. They're living way beyond their means. And I dated this girl one time, and she was a business mogul. I really enjoyed dating her because she hit me to a lot of shit. And she was told me, and excuse my language on this, but this is exactly what she told me. She said, I never understand how a $300,000 a year nigga will start hanging around a bunch of $600,000 a year niggas and start lying about his salary.
Damn.
And so and I thought about it for a second, and I was like, wow, I never thought about that. No matter how much you make, you still always want to keep up with those that are around you. You dig what I'm saying? $300,000 a year is nothing nothing to shake a stick at. No, I mean, it's nothing to shake a stick at. Like, that's some good ass money.
Oh, that's good ass money. But when you're trying to keep up with the Joneses,
excuse me, and I didn't mean to say it's nothing. I mean, that's nothing to sniff at. You making $300,000 a year, you're doing pretty fucking good. But the fact that you feel the need to lie and say you're making more than that when you're around people that are making $600,000 a year or $800,000 a year.
I'm gonna say, look, I'm gonna hang around y'all motherfuckers, but I can't do what y'all motherfuckers do. So if y'all gonna go buy that motherfucker Lambo over there, I can't do that right now on my budget. But I'm gonna ride with you.
I'm gonna keep up with you in my Lexus, though.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm a master.
Well, give me the key. Let me drive your shit for
me. Let me drive your shit one time.
I ain't gonna make myself broke to keep up with you.
Facts, neither am I, bro. I'm not gonna do it, man. I'm cool with who I am. I'm cool with me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't need to try to do that. But at the same time, it's funny how when certain people feel the need to do these certain type of things. So when you're in the NBA, you're making this certain money, but everybody on your team's making more than you. So you want to do the shit they do. You know what I mean? So I've always heard stories about NBA players being notorious for spending their money back poorly. So
I think they just need to get a good accountant.
I believe that.
Somebody that calls them and says, "What are you doing right now?" And you tell them, I'm driving to New York or something. Why aren't you working? Why aren't you back at your office working? And I'm like, damn, hold up. Damn, mama.
Yeah, that's exactly what you say, because just think about it. NBA's one and done. Mm. So one and done is actually worse than the old rule. It used to be you can get drafted out of high school. But then once you went to college, you had to go to college, I think, for 2 years or something like that. Mm. So basically, 95% of the kids out of high school was going to college. The 5% of the elite was getting straight to the NBA, and we was looking at that as problematic because there's all these 18-year-olds with $1 million contracts running around the NBA. Now they took that rule away. You can't get drafted out of high school. You got to go to college for 1 year.
What do you think about that?
See, this is what I think about it. Now what it is, every decent player and above is coming out after their freshman year to make money. So now there's a whole bunch of, and now there's, instead of 10, 18-year-olds, there's 50, 20-year-olds.
Gotcha.
40, 19-year-olds, and 30, 21-year-olds. You know what I'm saying?
So is that worse?
It's worse,
in your opinion?
For the finances. Yeah, for the finances, it's worse. It's for these guys that are really, really young, and then they don't have any veterans above them that are old enough to show them, hey, this is what you do, this is what your money, this is what you do for this is what you do for that. They just young dudes get money for the first time, and now their money's getting taken from them in the time period when they was expecting to get this bread. And
so, like,
I bet the number's higher than that.
Is the colleges, was they doing that because they wanted to make sure these kids was like somewhat educated, to understand how to handle their finances before they got into that? Or are they doing it because the longer they keep them in college, the more money they make, and the less money obviously the no money they need to pay these fucking kids, these poor damn kids that are out there doing all this for that college? They don't get no money for this shit. So is it the colleges being greedy and you know, saying, hey, the longer we keep these Bamas playing for us for free, the more money they make? Is that what it is? I mean, what the fuck is up?
It's the LeBron James effect is what I say it is.
What is that?
When LeBron James was coming up, there were the stadiums selling out, selling 10,000, 15,000 tickets for his high school games, right?